They are worth over $100 billion less than they were in 2021. It got so bad, people called for their CEO to be fired. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, LeBron, and now Caitlin Clark.
Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her?
On the shot clock, Clark, a deep three.
Feet on the hardwood, basketball in hand, guiding you, inspiring you, working on the player you dream to be. Because the ball will always bring you back to your favorite place. Calm, focused, and confident. To the place all roads lead, the game of basketball.
Nike just got blindsided. While they sat frozen in silence, Wilson lit the internet on fire, dropping a Caitlin Clark ad so bold, so deliberately savage, it didn't just challenge the sneaker hierarchy, it shattered it. This wasn't just an ad drop, it was a declaration of war. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, the $28 million 0 cents rookie Nike signed, then ghosted, but now she's the face of a direct hit at Nike's throne.
So lads, Caitlin Clark finally has her line of Wilson basketballs. And I mean a full line of Wilson basketballs. She's had plenty. There's been plenty of custom basketballs with Caitlin Clark, but there is a new full line. And again, look, of all the companies that are working with Caitlin Clark, Wilson might be, I think a lot of people would consider Wilson to be tippity top of that. They would consider Wilson to be the top company that has worked.
Wilson didn't roll out one ball, they launched an entire Caitlin Clark basketball line, the Dream Big and Aspire editions, featuring hand-picked colors, hidden mantras, and designs straight from Clark's own vision board. One ball changes color in sunlight, another hides her personal pep talk in the seams. Fans went wild, the line sold out in minutes. Wilson captured her.
I don't know if you can have a more perfect, like, commercial than that for a player. Like, I don't think you can have a more perfect thing. Simply Caitlin always basketball. There is no better way to promote Caitlin Clark. She doesn't need any promotion of pregame fits. There doesn't need to be any, like, even a Nike terrible promotion is like, you can't win, so win, while ignoring her. You don't need to see, there doesn't need to be any of that crap. There doesn't need to be any bells and whistles. All you have to do is promote basketball.
Wilson just did what every other brand was too slow or too scared to do. In one of the most talked about moves of the week, Wilson Sporting Goods has officially released a full Caitlin Clark basketball line, and fans are calling it nothing short of iconic. This wasn't a soft rollout, it wasn't a quiet drop, it was a full-on brand moment, not just one ball, a whole lineup. Indoor and outdoor version, multiple colorways, and all wrapped in Caitlin Clark's signature style. Every detail felt personal, intentional, emotional. The first release, called Dream Big, is a crisp white with soft sky blue paneling, clean, elegant, almost glowing under the lights. But look closer, and there's more. That maze-like design wrapped around the ball, it hides a razor-sharp message. Dream big, keep going. Fans quickly pointed out it's not just a nice phrase, it's Clark's actual team mantra. Her voice stitched into
what looks like a pink and green splash of paint, but it's actually an abstract drawing of a golf course. Wow. Wow. So I'm guessing these are the two ones? Two lower ones. You're going to be amazing because you are amazing, written on the basket.
Then came the Aspire model. Built for both indoor and outdoor play, it has a color-shifting design that transitions from gray to bright white in direct sunlight. Along its blue panels, a soft pastel illustration dances across the surface, a surreal take on a golf course. For Clark, that's her off-court happy place. One fan put it best, even if you've never golfed a day in your life, you'll Google how to tee off after seeing that ball.
Because they're the type of fans that Caitlin Clark has. No matter what you say. No matter what you say, and I'm not talking about the random fans you'll see on Twitter trying to use Caitlin Clark to push agendas. I'm talking purely about the basketball fans. And when Caitlin Clark, when she plays free, when she has freedom, when she's allowed to make mistakes, and she's willing to make mistakes, and that's one of the reasons, like, a lot of people are just like, I'm what you call it. It's like, I'll criticize Caitlin Clark, so I'm not a Caitlin Clark fan. One, like, as a player like Caitlin Clark, she's going to make more mistakes on the court. Like, that's a given. It's just a given with her style. But that is the type of flair in all sports. Like, as a fan of soccer as well, you can see it. It's the reason why, as a Leeds United fan, I loved Marcelo Bielsa. It's a reason why Rafinha is probably my favorite player in the world right now. Like, when he played for us, like, it was like he made football fun again. And what Caitlin Clark does is a little bit like what Steph Curry does. And it's the reason why people have gravitated towards LaMelo Ball, except the difference is LaMelo Ball doesn't make teams better. Caitlin Clark makes the ball game fun. And you need players with flair. You need players that have this ability.
But what really set this rollout apart was how Clark herself was involved. These weren't generic promo balls with her name stamped on them. According to public reports, she handpicked nearly every design element. Her favorite colors, meaningful phrases, even the exact words she whispers to teammates during game time huddles. It felt like holding a piece of her mindset, a pep talk in your palm. And fans didn't just notice, they responded. The first wave of products sold out within minutes. Wilson's servers were so overwhelmed they had to throttle demand and restock in real time. It was more than just a viral launch, it was a movement. Of course, the internet was fun. One user joked that the golf course art looked like an exploding unicorn that went to design school. Another said, if Caitlin Clark wrote horoscopes, I'd believe in astrology again. But beneath the humor, there was real admiration.
We also got to see the other offers that were on the table for Caitlin Clark, and as you can see, Under Armour offered her 4 years for $16 million, which by a year-by-year basis, she would actually be making more per year if she had signed with Under Armour. However, it was a shorter deal. Under Armour came to her and said that she could be the face of the women's line on the Steph Curry side because her and Steph's game is so similar, and I feel like looking back in retrospect, that might have been the perfect place for Caitlin, because I feel like Under Armour for sure wouldn't have ignored her this entire season and missed out on so many marketing dollars. The thing that is the most surprising about this is, if you guys remember, when Caitlin Clark was playing at Iowa, Nike ran ads about her.
Because for all the colorful buzz, Wilson did something serious. They showed up. In a year when other major brands, especially one global giant, have barely whispered Clark's name since her pro debut, Wilson went all in. They didn't wait, they didn't hesitate, they didn't overthink it. They launched a campaign that felt more like a love letter than a product push. Posters, tees, stickers, limited edition merch. Community leaders called it fan-first thinking. One commentator went further, saying Wilson didn't just sell a ball, they sold a story you want to be part of. Some fans called Wilson's drop a family birthday party, while mocking other brands for offering the energy of a corporate Zoom call.
Her when she broke the record for the most points in NCAA scoring history for both the men and the women, Nike put up this huge billboard that's basically like, if you break it, you own it. And this was in Iowa. They had other ads and things that came out, but since then it has been crickets. I personally don't understand how a brand like Nike, who has had athletes like Serena Williams, like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan, who branched off and made his own brand in itself, who has Wemby, who, by the way, they signed Wemby for an over $100 million contract, which this is absolutely no shade to Wemby. I love Wemby. He is a up-and-coming superstar, and there was so much hype for him coming into the league. However, I will say that Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million for 8 years as opposed to Wemby's 100. I believe that Caitlin Clark, if
a few jabs were clearly aimed at companies still caught up in internal alignment and strategic rollouts, while Wilson made magic in real time. But above all, people kept coming back to one thing Nike couldn't: authenticity. Clark isn't a gimmick. She's a generational athlete who rose on grit, vision, and relentless consistency. And Wilson captured that, not with flashy slogans, but with detail, design, and a rollout that felt like it knew her. Anyone can slap a logo on a basketball. But what Wilson did was different. They built a line that feels like a mirror of Caitlin Clark's journey: personal, powerful, and proud. In the world of sports marketing, where every second counts and every endorsement is a chess move, Wilson just made theirs
Her
loud and
shoe
clear.
for her
and
this
fans,
season, they would have
heard
made
it
a killing.
loud
Sabrina
and clear.
Ionescu has a shoe with Nike, and it is very similar to like a Kobe or a Kyrie shoe. It's actually, honestly, like it feels like it's a Kyrie shoe. And there are a lot of men who wear the Sabrinas as well. That is an example where you don't need to take all of this time in developing the greatest first shoe for a player. You have Kyrie prototypes, you have all of these different shoes at your disposal at Nike, and you've done it for other players. Wemby's shoe is out. LeBron, when he came into the league and there was so much hype around him, he also was somebody who signed a $100+ million, I mean, his contract was like so insane, but hundreds of millions of dollar contract with Nike coming out of high school. LeBron had a shoe going into his first season. They didn't skip a beat. So why in the world are they being so quiet about Caitlyn? Either one, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes at Nike.
Nike's brand value is down over $100 billion, 0 cents, since 2021. While Adidas hung on and Under Armour surged in pockets, Nike has been stumbling. Yet in April, they inked an 8-year, $28 million, 0 cents deal with Caitlin Clark, one of the rare generational athletes, LeBron, MJ, and now Clark, a once-in-a-lifetime signing. Everyone cheered at the announcement. Then the season started. And crickets. No commercials, no billboards, no signature sneakers. People in the community pointed out how absurd it was that Clark went from unanimous WNBA Rookie of the Year to silent partner in their own deal. They called Nike's official line on the delayed shoe an obvious lie. A well-respected insider reported that concerns over optics and hurt feelings drove Nike's decision. When Clark signed her deal, social media erupted. Fans argued it was not fair that a white rookie got a signature shoe before a 3-time MVP Black star. An Olympic coach even tweeted about the league being more than one player, instead of praising the rookie phenom Clark. In public reaction, many in our community called this ridiculous politics. They pointed out historical parallels. In 2003, Nike began designing LeBron's shoe before he even signed. They created the Air Zoom Nobel project in secret, then rolled out the Air Zoom generation in time for his NBA debut. Clark stepped into the league and shattered assist records, yet they treated her like a leaking radiator. Viewer responses ranged from anger to despair. Some said no wonder this CEO got fired. Others quipped, "Now I cross my fingers just asking for a simple CC shoelace design." A few predicted that if Nike doesn't release Clark's shoe by next season, they'll watch her sign with someone else. One voice guessed Clark lawyers already have an escape clause waiting in the wings. Critics contrasted the Nike silence with Wilson's embracing of Clark. They reminded us that Wilson ran 3 separate commercials, launched custom balls, and sold out each wave. Meanwhile, Nike was playing hide and seek. They pointed to Wilson's record. Every ball iteration sold in minutes. Social media buzz skyrocketing, fans clamoring to buy the Clark effect, while Nike investors watched share prices slip. A tiny bit of humor poked through. A commentator joked that Nike's execs must have thought, if we ignore her long enough, maybe she'll go away. Another joked that Nike had delivered a new "Just Do It" slogan, "Just don't say her name." Yet beneath the laughter was frustration. Good marketing doesn't hide superstars, it helps them shine. Public feedback drove home one final thought. When a brand signs a generational talent, they sign up for risk, reward, and record-breaking moments. You can't treat that like a year-old banana. You embrace it with billboards, commercials, and a signature shoe drop timed to match record-breaking stat lines. Nike's silence feels like negligence, a missed chapter in basketball history. And the fans are watching. The question now is whether Clark will stay silent or walk away. At this week's Courtside Club, Rachel Dida laid out the facts. Caitlin Clark's 8-year, $28 million 0 cents Nike deal looked huge until we saw how quietly Nike handled it. They ran spotty announcements at the start of the season, then nothing. Rachel reminded us that Under Armour offered Clark 4 years and $16 million, 0 cents, plus the chance to front Steph Curry's line. That would have meant more cash per year and immediate shoe releases. Yet Clark chose Nike, citing her college days when Nike erected a giant "Break It, You Own It" billboard after she became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer. Fans said that made sense as a college athlete, but once she hit the pros, Nike seemed to lose her number. The public reaction was fierce. Viewers called Nike's handling mind-blowing, completely illogical, and a branding nightmare. Many noted that Nike signed Colin Kaepernick to headline a political campaign, yet ducked when Clark shook up a global women's league. Public Voices guessed this was politics over profit. They pointed out that Serena and LeBron didn't need to fight for promo. They got billboard campaigns months before their first pro games. In public comments, people laid out hard stats. Clark's games averaged over 1 million TV viewers, while average WNBA games drew 300,000. Playoff tickets for her first Fever appearance sold for more than every other WNBA playoff game combined. The Fever had to move to a larger NBA arena to keep up with Clark effect attendance. Yet Nike treated all of that like a belated email they forgot to send. Rachel highlighted that A'ja Wilson just announced her 3rd MVP signature shoe set for spring 2025, despite no Nike promotion for Clark. Public reactions ranged from absurd to offensive. Fans said it felt like Nike was coddling hurt feelings instead of courting dollars. One viewer quipped that next they'd release a white t-shirt shoe and call it progress. At the end, Rachel Dida laid it out. In sports marketing, you don't put a superstar deal on ice. You unleash the campaign. You drop commercials, you launch shoes in tandem with big record nights, and you light up billboards in every major market. You don't wait 2 or 3 years while your stock slides. The community agrees Nike's silence is a miss in the story of sports marketing. They signed gold, then treated Clark like spare change. Now, fans everywhere are left wondering where that $28 million 0 cents deal went, because brand loyalty runs both ways, and not even the swoosh can save a partnership built on quiet.